Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live recording of the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar, and I'm joined by our Reviews Editor, Sherlyn Lowe. Hey, Sherlyn.
Hello.
Hello. And our producer, Ben Elman. Hey, Ben.
Hi.
Hi. You guys probably saw a bunch of us, or at least a lot of our streams this week during E3. But thank you all for joining us. Who's in the chat room today? I saw a lot of regulars during our E3 show, too. So thank you all for sticking around.
Yeah, I like our little community. It's great.
It's nice.
Going to check. That's a good shout because I'm going to pull up our chat right now.
All right. I see Mark Dell. I see Josh Shukdeva. I see Ray/Exception. You had a lot of great questions during E3, Ray, so thank you.
Jonathan Anderson, too.
Yep, Jonathan Anderson. I can poop
John
twice a day,
Partners.
yay. Thank you. I can
Love
poop
that.
twice a day, yay.
A new name for me is Riza with an exclamation point. Says, hey, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, there are a lot of people here who are interested in the Windows 11
Oh, good.
show off.
I'm also
interested
interested
little
in
show
that.
and tell. So we're going to be talking about just the background of the Windows 11 leak. Then we're going to do a little bit of other news, and then maybe around 10:30, 10:45 Eastern time, we're going to be getting back to actual hands-on
Yeah.
live stream with Windows 11. So please stick around because we're going to be doing the Windows 11 live stream, and then we're going to get straight into E3. There's a lot to stick around for today.
A lot to do. Remember, this is a live, this is us recording the podcast. So we're going to do our podcast segments, and in between some segments, we'll do Q&A with you guys, and that's when we can chat with you all.
I see a quick question already from that Gabra. I think used to be that Kid Gabra or something, saying, where's Jess? Jess will be on later.
Jess is coming on after 10 because Jess lives in Arizona, and I don't want to get her up at 7, you know?
Yep. Because, wait, is she
Unnecessary.
on Mountain Time or is she on West Coast
she's
time?
on Central Time, so it's like
I think it's a
2
1
hours,
hour
isn't it?
difference.
Or
I thought it was a one.
No, Arizona's got to be on Mountain Time.
It's got to be.
We'll double check.
Yeah.
We can
Even
ask her
where
when she
it
gets
is.
here.
But anyway, I don't want Jess to come up too early for us, so.
I know that they don't do daylight
Yes, they don't do
savings
daylight
time.
savings, yeah.
So nice.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah,
All right,
but
folks.
Arizona's on Mountain Time
Mhm.
because right below like Colorado and all that.
That makes sense. So 2 hours.
Yes, so
Blah,
we've
blah,
got
blah, blah,
like user Ruin Dig saying when is the Windows 11 hands-on?
Give us
Again,
half an
that's-
hour, maybe.
Yeah, again, that's going to be, we're going to be talking about Windows 11 immediately once we start the show. Then we're going to be talking about just a couple of other things, just some general other news. And then we're going to be doing the Windows 11 hands-on. Let's call it
A
10:30
bunch of things.
or 10:45
Before we get
AM
started, let
ET.
me just share there's a folder I want to share with you, with our video team. And then we're good. How y'all doing? Any other questions from the chat room? Oh man,
All right.
it's all good. We had some B-roll for the Windows 11 stuff that I was trying to get to our folks.
Thanks to Jung Park for saying that the E3 coverage from us was on point. We appreciate it. And Sandeep Makal says, hi, everyone. Is the stream just starting? Yeah, we're just about to start recording the podcast proper. So there you go.
There we go. There we go.
Some good questions, too, by the way, already coming up about E3. So we'll have to answer those with Jess around, too.
Very cool. Let me just Slack our video guy here. You guys chat amongst yourselves.
So Sandeep asks, is the stream just starting? Yes, the stream is just starting. You're right on time.
Alrighty. Okay. That's shared. So we'll have a little bit of B-roll we could show you.
Okay.
We good to go?
I think so.
Julio, can you give us verbal confirmation? Oh my God, Devendra, I just saw your shirt.
Somebody's not paying attention. Somebody's not paying attention. Good
Excuse
morning,
me,
everybody.
I was too busy focused on other things.
Yes.
The Garfield Evangelion shirt.
Yes.
Um,
The infamous Garfield Evangelion shirt.
how did that even start? I think
I don't know,
was it,
but I saw it and I must have it.
yeah, I
So.
think it was just like a shitty Alibaba kind of thing, and then people were like,
No,
"Oh, this is
it
actually
was one of the
hilarious."
T design thing, but I also find it hilarious because I both love Garfield and Evangelion. So there you go, folks. Okay, we are going to start the podcast as usual. We're going to run the show. We cannot talk to you during the actual podcast segments, but we'll do Q&A in between. And hey, if you drop a good question and Ben or somebody wants to shout it out as we're chatting, maybe you'll get through too. Okay, you get to go?
Yep, ready.
All right, we are going to start recording the podcast. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devindra Hardawar.
I'm Reviews Editor Sherlyn Lowe.
And today we're also joined by our podcast producer, Ben Ellman. Hey, Ben.
Hello.
Hello. We are going to be chatting about a whole bunch of stuff this week, but it's kind of a crazy week because I thought it was just going to be, hey, E3, let's wrap up E3 into a nice little package. And then out of nowhere, a leak of Windows 11, at least a very early build, leaked out. Dropped on the internet. Screenshots went everywhere. We got our hands on it. I got some time with it. So we will be talking about all this stuff and all, the Windows 11 leak leading up to next week's Windows event, which is going to be the official debut. As always, if you're enjoying the Engadget Podcast, please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes. That's always super helpful. And, drop us an email at podcast@engadget.com if you have any questions. And you can join us Thursdays, typically around 10 a.m. Eastern. We record live on our Engadget YouTube channel, so you can join us for Q&A and hands-ons. You can actually see the hands-ons with the Windows 11 leak if you come check out this episode too. So let's move right on to this Windows 11 thing, which I think is pretty freaking wild. I can't remember the last time, especially ahead of like a major launch event, when an entire OS just appeared online. I think the first thing we saw was a couple screenshots from a user on Baidu, the Chinese social network, where a lot of stuff tends to drop there. And then gave it a couple hours, and the ISO, the actual installation disk, appeared
Crazy.
on the internet, and people wasted no time downloading that and installing that. I got my hands on it too. So as somebody who's installed Windows many times, that was a really interesting experience to get this thing out of nowhere. It kind of reminded me of like the Windows XP days, to be honest, when everybody was pirating Windows XP, and I would just fish around the internet for free copies of XP, because that was my college life, everybody. Sherlyn, I don't know if you have this experience of like trying to find free Windows back in the day.
I had experience trying to find free Microsoft Office.
Yeah,
back in the
exactly.
day.
Yeah.
Not the whole OS, but like some of the apps, and yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we all had our ways. Don't get me wrong, but part of the fun is in the hunt. No?
It's the hunt. It's the hunt is fun. Yeah. I mean, this is we should have a whole episode about like finding illicit shit, like
for me it was just
stuff on the
key
internet.
Generators. But yes,
Key generators, all the fun stuff. Hey, this is semi-legal stuff. The statute of limitations is over. Let's talk about this Windows 11 leak though, because it is kind of wild. So the history here, I think, is that if you look at it first glance, it looks a lot like what we were hearing about Windows 10X, that dual screen version of Windows that Microsoft was talking about 2 years ago. Last year, they said, maybe not dual screen. Those devices aren't ready. So they started saying Windows 10X, maybe more for single screen devices. And then a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, Microsoft officially killed Windows 10X ahead of build, I believe. So that idea, they said those features would be going into Windows 10 proper, or future versions of Windows. It looks like what happened is that sometime in the last year, somebody was like, hey, it's been 6 years since Windows 10 came out. Let's just do another one. And what we're seeing here is kind of this new refined, polished follow-up to Windows 10. Some of the big things I think you'll notice at the beginning, the taskbar is centered in the middle of the screen. So that is kind of that's interesting. That's just a different change for Windows. I think I'll be doing a hands-on video and a piece later today about this too. but it feels a lot like Mac OS 10 right now, which is weird.
It looks a lot like Mac.
It's like Mac, right? Because now the taskbar is all icon focused. I am the sort of person, I'm the sort of Windows nerd where I always like having a little title bar or a little, a little label next to all my windows on the taskbar. You cannot do that in Windows 11, at least right now. So yeah, they're finally forcing you to stick with the icons, which is, I think, something Microsoft's already doing that around Windows 7 is when they went icons first, but you always had the option to turn on titles. That's gone. So I think the result now is like a cleaner interface, and it's centered. It's a little more OS X like, or Mac OS like. And the start menu also got some changes too. It looks very different. It looks
Question, from what I'm seeing on this screen capture that you're sharing, the start menu is no longer like off to the left. At least the start button is no longer all in the left. Everything is in the center.
You can push it back to the left, so you can push the entire taskbar back to the left, but again, it's still just gonna be icons. So like there are some options I'm showing there.
I see. Okay. Go ahead. You were talking about a start menu. It does look pretty different.
Menu is different too. So I think the last time Microsoft changed the start menu was Windows 8, and everybody, it was like the meme. Nobody liked that. Nobody wanted that. So in Windows 10, in Windows 8, they tried to give us a full screen start menu. They were trying to push Windows as this like tablet hybrid OS, and it's good for touchscreens and everything. Nobody liked it. So in Windows 10, Microsoft went back to the traditional start menu, a thing that just pops up, has all your apps, maybe has a couple shortcuts. They added live tiles to Windows 10 start menu. This one is a little cleaner, I'd say. Like when you hit the start menu, there are shortcuts for pinned apps. Basically, there's a selection of suggested apps at the bottom, and then there's a button to hit where you see all your apps. So that's the entire start menu. I think that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. I hate sifting through the start menu. I haven't done that in years, so I do think this shift away from giving you the the full uncluttered the full clutteredness of your start menu is probably smart. Typically, I just hit the Windows key and like start typing an app name.
Yep, same. Same.
That's how I get to everything. And I think the pinned apps shortcuts at the top, that's just for like the things where you just hit frequently and you just don't want to type. So this is overall like between this and the taskbar, I think it's an overall cleaner interface. I should say, I've heard from a source that should definitely know what's up here. This is an incomplete early build of Windows 11. So if this is not doing it for you, expect a lot more features when Microsoft fully announces it next week. So this is just like a glimpse. No, they're not gonna. No one's gonna say more than, "Hey, this isn't everything, guys. Don't worry about it."
Dev, talking about the way that you and I use the start menu, by the way, there is a question in our live chat from Sandeep McCall that says, I hope they fix the Windows search. Now, I think they're like referring to something that I've personally encountered, and that is sometimes when I type into the start menu, which, by the way, not necessarily the Windows search here, because you might be also talking about the File Explorer. But okay, when I type into the search menu, I can type PHO, and then I get the first shortcut, and I hit return, and that's like Photoshop, right? But I hit PHOT, and it's a Photos app. So like it feels like that seems a little like a weird search algorithm going on there.
It doesn't feel any different to me. It feels exactly the same as Windows 10 at this point. So I don't know. Let me just say one other thing that I noticed here that is really interesting is that you know how you can like drag a window to different corners of the screen and it'll like snap it to different sides. So Microsoft added the shortcut. If you hover above the maximize icon in the top right of your screen, you will see this quick drop down shortcut of just different snap points. So from that drop down, you could like snap all the way to the left or snap all the way to the bottom right. And it's a small change, but I think it could actually be a big deal because I hate manually resizing windows, and I hate like the auto snapping doesn't always work. It's kind of frustrating. So for me, especially when I'm multitasking, I have an ultra wide monitor here. I just want to like, boom, go on the top right, boom, go on the the left side. You can easily manage all these screens you're working on in a simple way. So again, this feels like a really nice decluttered Windows, and to be honest, I like that a lot better than anything Apple has ever done with macOS, because macOS Windows management is a huge pain. Come at me, bros. I hate it. I hate it. The only ways I can use Macs is if I use Apple's expose feature which blows up all the windows and can show you all the windows for an app or all the windows you have open. This I'm just really digging this interface so far. There's rounded corners on the windows too. A couple like system icon changes, some different sounds. It's a small refresh, at least from this build. Mm-hmm.
What do you like most about it, I guess?
I think
Other
I like
than the
that
squircles.
the squircles are nice. It feels cleaner. I do think, listen, my taskbar is usually a chaotic mess, okay? And that's how I've
Mine
lived
too.
with Windows since Windows 95, since they introduced the taskbar. So I'm just used to that. But having, seeing Windows in a slightly more clean way, this reminds me of the way like some Linux variants also looked back in the day. This is a little like BOS.
Yes.
It's cleaner. It's all icons. The icons are higher resolution. There's some new art throughout it too. I think it's just like it feels more modern, which is nice. But I'm sure there's going to be a big backlash to this new start menu.
I mean, I like that you can still put it back to the left.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's me being stupid enough to never have disabled this, but I'm looking at my own taskbar now, right? And it's cluttered as hell. I have the Cortana button, which I can obviously disable, but I also have a wide ass search bar that's taken up a third of the space. So it's like cluttered AF. And then, I mean, all my I like my systems indicators on the bottom right, so I'm not going to touch them, but I
Those
also have like a
always be
dozen
there.
apps open.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it looks like Windows kept them around for Windows 11 based on this leak anyway. But it does look a lot cleaner, like you said. I don't know how much like disabling of things like the Cortana button and the search bar I might have to do. But if I can achieve that simplicity and that cleanness of that look I'm seeing on our screen share right now, then that'll be nice.
What we're looking at right now, by the way, there is like a widget button to give you widgets on the left side of the screen. I feel like they tried to do that around Windows 8. They kind of went away from it in Windows 7. Yeah. So widgets are back. They're fine so far. You don't have to engage with them if you don't want. But it's just like another thing that's there. I do kind of like widgets when like just show me the weather. What's next on my calendar? Just give me the basic stuff so I can move on with my life. But I'm not going to sit there and stare at widgets,
I'm not going to devote screen space to it. I like, I think there were either some apps or this was built into the OS way back when there was like a translucent black box on the right where you could put things like, like you said, the weather. And then for me, it was like a to-do list up there too. And then like you said, calendar too. But I don't like cluttering up screen space anymore.
It's nice. I'm sure a lot is going to be different. The official Microsoft event is going to be next Thursday, June 24th, and we're actually going to record the podcast a little later next week. We're going to start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern because we want to see what this Microsoft news is, and then we will officially talk about all that. So if you want to nerd out with Windows stuff, join us next week, and we will be doing some more hands-on later in this episode. We actually didn't do that. We'll be doing more hands-on for those of you on the live stream, but Ben, you're going to cut this bit out.
Yes, absolutely, I will.
Yep.
Maybe just take a step back, do another end for that section, and just say like we're gonna have a video out. Like check back to
We'll do that. I'll do that. So. So I'm also producing a hands-on video for Engadget. So you'll find that on our YouTube channel by the time you can download and listen to this podcast. So, go check that out. Go check out my article about it. Drop us some questions. And if you have any things you want us to look out for the official release of Windows 11, or at least the official announcement, drop us a line at podcast@engadget.com.
Okay, so talking directly to the chat for a second. There are some people who are saying like, "Wow, this was short." Well, that's just because we're getting to like some other stuff, so we can give you even more Windows 11 screen share. We're going to do a little bit of other news. We're going to talk about OnePlus Nord and the OnePlus Nord N200 5G and a couple of other things, and then we're going to get back to Windows 11, and you guys can pretty much tell us what you want to see. You can shoulder surf as if you are the 8-year-old little brother telling us exactly what to do on this Windows 11 leak.
While we're on the break, by the way, Mark Dell asked if they brought the pinball game back.
I don't see any games.
That game was so good. The pinball game, I spent so many hours.
So we're talking about the Windows XP pinball game, right?
I mean, listen, if it's not the snowboarding game, I don't care.
The snowboarding game is so basic. Oh my
The snowboarding game is so much good. Don't talk to me about basic games.
Okay, yeah, but you're not talking about ski free here, right?
I am talking about ski free.
Yes.
And
Okay.
especially Windows 3, I think, it started even earlier.
Shit, what's his name? Panos. Shared a GIF of it a while ago. Oh, it was so great. It was like such awesome nostalgia.
Miss it back. Okay, let's clear out this other news, and then we will
Yes.
do a live hands-on with the Windows 11.
By the way,
okay?
quick Windows question before we do that.
Mhm.
Markdale asked if Internet Explorer is still included. I mean, it's
There's
dead,
no more
so-
Internet Explorer.
Well, yeah,
I think they officially announced it's dying with older builds of Windows, but it's all Edge now for
Okay,
any
yeah, I
new
was
computer.
about to say
Yeah.
it's officially Edge.
Edge has a Windows and Internet Explorer mode for backwards
Mhm.
compatibility. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get through this other news so we can do lots of navigating
Yep.
around Windows 11.
I'll throw it to you because a lot of this is your stuff, Sherlock. Okay.
Sure.
Let's move on to some other news, and I guess there's OnePlus news. I don't know. I always felt like OnePlus and Oppo was already, or they were already like one company. But what's going on here, Sherlyn?
So, I mean, yes, after all of that E3 and Windows stuff, it felt like nothing else this week even really mattered. But then OnePlus, I mean, first it introduced a new phone called the
Mhm.
Nord N200 5G. And this is just really quickly, just to say this is part of the company's like Nord N series, more budget-friendly devices. And
Mhm.
it's the first of the company's like sub $250 5G phones. We've heard about this like the company has been teasing it for a while, and this week it officially announced that the price in the US is going to be $240 for a 5G phone with a
Mhm.
Snapdragon 480 CPU. So great. Anyhow, the other bigger news surrounding OnePlus is that OnePlus and Oppo, formerly kind of like sister companies, sort of under the
OnePlus
same
was
big
a
brand.
subsidiary of Oppo. Like it seemed like it was in the name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It used to be under Oppo,
Yes.
and then now they're merging and they've been collaborating for a while. Like Oppo licensed out its fast charging tech to OnePlus too. But anyhow, so now OnePlus is becoming an Oppo sub brand.
The merge, doesn't the merge just mean OnePlus is downsizing? Doesn't it mean like Oppo is just eating up OnePlus rather than being an independent company or something? Yeah,
it could be, but they're both they have both been owned by the same parent company anyway. So like you said, it does seem like I don't think it's just OnePlus downsizing, right? I think it's both of them are gonna pull their resources and kind of just be like, there's no wall between us anymore. We are not gonna license tech out to you. You just straight up use our tech. You know what I mean? Like there's less of that paperwork maybe to be done. One of I mean, again, this is like another big move in recent memory at OnePlus, right? Because Carl Pei left fairly recently, and Carl Pei was one of the co-founders and formerly a general director or someone like a director at large or something, and has now gone on to launch, let's not forget, Nothing, and then bought Essential. Lots of fun word games here, but lots of changes going on at OnePlus. In our own personal interactions or our own working interactions with OnePlus too, there do seem to have been personnel changes. Does this mean anything is going to really? Does this mean the company is going to go down a different path? It's hard to say. I know that a lot of
they're trying to save money. I think that's all.
They're probably trying to save money. I don't know if it means they're doing very well or not very well. I mean, we'll see. But yes, this is interesting news. I think for OnePlus's fans. I think Oppo has always been sort of a similar style company, except for with a greater focus, I think, on China and other regions in the world outside of the US. So maybe US fans might be concerned, but I don't know. I feel like Oppo always felt on like the innovative end of things, and then OnePlus felt like it was high specs, low price. That was their whole thing.
That all kind of changed for them too. The Android phone market is just a wild, crazy place. So be careful out there, folks. I don't know. I don't know how many brands I'd like personally feel safe.
There's
by
so many.
at this point.
There's so
too many. I don't know how long the hardware will last. So be careful out there, folks. What else is going on in Google land, Sherlyn?
So, in Android-related news, every week there is new updates from Google land, and this week we've got The new set of Android updates. Last week we had Pixel updates. Now this is the broader ecosystem of Android is getting new features like starred messages. Hey,
Okay.
the Messages app, for some reason, continues to get updates as if anyone still uses text on Android. But you can start messages in the Messages app and then go back to them later on, which is good for me. And I think this is kind of similar to like you can snooze notifications, right, in Android, but similar-ish to delaying and getting notification summaries from iOS 15. In a way, you kind of like just not looking at them until later. But this is a very specific to one app kind of feature rather than system-wide. The more interesting thing is that alongside these updates, Google also announced end-to-end encryption for the Messages app, which is interesting. It's a good feature to have. You can text people with more, I guess, peace of mind. This is only for one-to-one messages and not for group texts, by the way, but the group text interface and Messages isn't great anyways. It's not like a lot of people were using them. But yeah, no, Android's getting start messages, more voice controls. Here's a feature that lets you, if you're using voice access, to interact with your phone, which people who maybe, have low visibility could be using. There's a way now to more easily enter passwords. And when some of our editors read the post, they came to me and they were like, this seems like a bad idea to like read out your password. Let's be clear. When you're reading out your password to enter into a forum, could you maybe be alone in a room and not out in public?
Definitely a bad idea. Yeah.
Just general PSA. Just don't.
Nobody
shout out your
listens to that
password.
stuff. I'm thinking like when people used to like order stuff in catalogs too, they would just sit there and like recite their entire
I hate that.
credit card number.
Social
and then
security.
Those same
sometimes.
people would be afraid of buying things online, which is vastly more secure. Ugh. Ugh.
I just love listening to the shit that people say on the street sometimes. Anyway, speaking of the streets and the real world, Google's also launching its first ever physical retail store. This week, actually today, as we are recording this, about half an hour ago, the doors opened to the first store Google's ever had that's a permanent space in its Chelsea building here in New York. So the address is 76 9th Avenue if you're ever interested to go check it out.
They bought the Chelsea Market building and the building across the street. So they own an entire block too, in addition to the Chelsea Market building, right?
I mean, they've always had the building that was kind of across the Chelsea Market. I think
that was
the Chelsea Market building was bought more recently.
One of the old like mail postal service buildings.
Exactly.
But anyway, Google owns a lot of real estate in New York.
Space down there, right? Yeah. Which is why I guess it kind of makes sense that the first retail store opened in that neighborhood and in New York, as opposed to say San Francisco.
Sure.
But here in this space, I mean, a lot of comparisons were being made, I guess, to an Apple store, for example. And Google has some things in this store that I don't think you'll find in an Apple store. You've got little like what they call sandboxes, which are these little areas set up to kind of show off its tech, like a little living room area where there is a giant screen that mimics a window and the passage of day and seasons. So you can have like winter or nighttime outside, and the Nest lights in that room space will change color or dim or whatever. So you can go in and interact with it, and there's going to be there's a Stadia Sandbox because people play Stadia.
Let me just say, this seems like a complete waste of time and money for everybody involved. But I can understand why Google set this up, right? Because these are its flagship New York buildings. So when they host events or they get they get groups of folks over, they can be like, here's a spot with all of our toys. Yes. We'll close off the store, for a morning or something for an event.
Oh yeah.
That's really all. This is all marketing, right?
Yes, I mean, that's part of it, right? Like, yeah, there's dedicated workshop space, event space where they'll host and Google's done this before in the past, where it's hosted like cooking sessions with Aisha Curry, or like how to cook with a Nest display. That sort of event that we press have been invited to in the past, and they've actually been kind of fun. And I can imagine now they'll all happen at this store space, so the public can attend them. Of course, COVID restrictions are going to be in place and evolve according to whatever the local and state and federal laws are. But But for now, the in-store associates are going to be wearing masks and, hand sanitizers all over the place, that sort of thing.
I see people in our live stream chat, by the way, are saying like it would be hilarious if Apple just opened a store across the street. There is an Apple store like a couple blocks away, right? Like I remember that.
A big one. Yes.
A huge one.
Oh my God. Like on 13th Street ish, in the meatpacking district, there's this big, huge Apple
just walk down
space.
The street, folks.
Oh my gosh. With nice event space too. I remember attending another event at another Apple location, not the one quite so close to this Chelsea location, but Pele was launching a football app and he was using the Apple store space. That was amazing. I was front row. I almost touched Pele's foot. Anyhow.
Don't touch Pele's foot.
I did
not.
Don't
curse Pele, please.
I could, but I did not yet.
Anything else you want to add about the store? Sure, fine, whatever. Okay, Google, you do you. I don't think they're going to open many other stores at this point.
Not sure.
This is not like Microsoft stores where they actively tried to bring it to other areas in the country.
Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what their expansion plans are just yet, but it's also space for them to fix devices. And for those of you on the live stream, you can take a look at all the different cracked screens of Pixel phones that I have and understand how this is important to me. Hopefully, these are free repairs, but you can schedule an appointment to go get your
why would they be free repairs?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think so. But you can get them fixed same day, and you can make an appointment, and then you can be told when to pick up your device. You can wait in the store if you want. So that's a little handy thing I think that Google is offering.
What else is going on? I see we've got some news about
I'm just
gonna shout. Just shout them out.
I'm just gonna shout them out in a list and recommend that you go check out Engadget.com to catch up on this news. So rapidly, this is what happened this week. Spotify launched its Clubhouse rival, Green Room. Leica launched its own phone called the Phone One, and also U.S. lawmakers are thinking about making it easier for people to cancel their subscriptions. Which that last one, close to my heart.
Please
do it. It's so stupid. I get so angry at companies sometimes that they cheat. They make it so hard to cancel your subscription.
They're like, we can make it so easy for you to sign up, but man, it's just too hard to let you unsubscribe.
Signing up is so tricky too. Some sites, they're like, hit the checkout. This button is in bright red and bold, and then the no thanks, let's skip this is in tiny ass font. And then
I'm looking at you, New York Times, super rich media company, which also involves you still have to call somebody to cancel your subscription.
Yeah.
So
it's not cool. Not cool. You should be able to just hit a button and cancel and know that your account info has been deleted off the servers. But anyhow, hopefully this is this bipartisan bill, by the way, passes, and then it'll be law hopefully eventually. But that was good news. Check it out, all of it, all the details on everything I just shouted out on Engadget.com.
All right, I think we can wrap that segment.
Yes, I think that segment can be wrapped, and
we are ready.
Yeah, we're ready to do the actual
hands-on.
Windows hands-on.
We can, whenever you guys want to flip over, let's flip over to the Windows 11 screen. Hello, chat room. This is what we're doing. We're going to do this live.
John Park said we need Gorilla Glass 20 for my...
Listen, I have an iPhone 12 right now, and I have cracked all over the place. So we are looking at a live screen of the Windows 11 leaked desktop. This is everything I was talking about. This is the center start menu. We have some new, fresher icons, I think. Down here, this is the task, the widget button.
Is that widget shortcut, like something you can remove from there?
You can remove. I already removed a bunch of shortcuts that were down here too.
Okay.
Nothing important. But yeah, you can basically tweak. Oh no, my battery's running low.
Oh,
we could tweak a whole bunch of things. It is plugged in. What?
Oh, that's weird.
What?
Let's see if we can just
could that be a bug?
That.
Did we just find a bug?
That could be a bug.
We could just ignore that.
It could be a bug. It could also be the charger on this thing. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna just lower my own brightness here, so I don't.
There you go.
Kill it for the demo. But yeah, this is our new taskbar. There are.
Can we see the file explorer? Does it still look exactly the same as before?
pretty much. But there are some new icons.
New
right?
icons, yeah, and very word-like shortcuts. Although I think you can change that.
Yeah, I think you could tweak a lot of the stuff at the top. I don't like this is too big.
I don't like them either.
But right now I'm also, if you're looking at this, I'm running it in 1080p, so it's a little cramped compared to a lot of other things.
I like this.
Let's go straight to new start menus, new start menu icon.
Nice.
This is what I was talking about. It has pinned apps up top. You can just like a nice clean selection of apps. This reminds me of the OS 10 launch. Is it Launchpad? Or that thing, the thing where it's just a
yeah, I think it's Launchpad. I believe so. But
down here, it's recommended apps based on things you've got. All apps button over here.
Nice.
Just cutting that off.
So if you hit start, by the way, just the keyboard,
if I hit start, just button, this pops up. Yeah.
Do you type? Can you type something immediately?
Yep.
Okay. So if you type, say, gotcha.
I was looking for Faststone, but I don't have it.
Good.
So that's the way Windows has worked since Windows 7. Hit the start menu and then just start typing.
Yeah. That's all I want. Yeah. Because I didn't see a search and I was confused. Yeah.
Let me just pull up the
very nice
taskbar settings down here.
So while you show off some of that stuff, I'm going to read some of the questions and comments that I banked.
I'm also gonna, you guys talk. I'm gonna plug in another thing just so this doesn't lose power.
Yeah, go for it.
So Gabriel says at least the edges on this Windows 11. Definitely working toward that design for sure. But I think the more interesting comment that Tony Taiga made was that it's like Windows meets Chrome OS, which is kind of, interesting given the...
Yeah.
I would say that most desktop OSs look more or less the same, right? You more or less have that bottom bar. You more or less have a start-ish menu or an apps menu drawer type of deal.
That's the like mid 1990s kind of interface, right? That was Windows 95. That was a lot of Linux interfaces. So yeah. Okay, so we're back here.
Because like everything is in a slightly different place. Oh God, my muscle memory is going to be screwed now.
Just a little bit. Let me show off the thing I was telling you about, which is so remember, this is normal window snapping. You know,
yes,
you like
I
drag
saw
it
the
to the
thing
side.
just now. Yeah, nice.
But if you do this. Ooh.
There you go. Wow, nice. I saw that just now on the pre-roll. I was like, nice.
This is nice. So go boom. Go down there, and then you can. It also has like an app chooser, so you could choose something that's open up here.
What if does the keyboard shortcut still work the same way? So if you just bring the window back to normal in the middle, and you do Windows key right or Windows key left.
Let me see. I don't really use that shortcut, but let me see.
Try that. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Park is also asking how to access the Task Manager in Windows 11.
It is. So yeah, it's not on the right-click menu right now. I think here, if I try to find some blank space, no.
Can you Control-Alt-Delete?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. I don't want to do that because I think that will start to kill it. But yeah, Task Manager looks the same as Windows 10.
That's how I get to Task Manager anytime still.
Yeah. I still right click on the taskbar, but
right.
I'm running this on a Surface Pro 4, so nice, nice computer. I will say I upgraded this installation. I didn't even do like the reboot and boot off the USB drive. I just had the install file and I upgraded straight from Windows 10, and all the apps work. It took like, the time it takes to install Windows 10 basically. It was a pretty smooth translation. 15 to 20 minutes. Like, it's not that long. Honestly, it could be like 10 minutes if you don't have many apps to transition. So the actual installation process did not take too long.
Sorry, I see a couple people asking in the chat about live tiles on the start menu, and honestly, I never liked them.
I never liked the live tiles. Those were a holdover from Windows Phone and the old like Metro design. I think they're moving away from the Metro design, which is good.
Good, because the live tiles to me were a waste of space. Like, I'm looking at my current start menu, and I never looked at them.
Never look at them. They're I feel like Microsoft, they wanted to bring at least a little bit of that blocky design from Windows 8 over, but they never could get rid of it. Yeah, I never really used live tiles
Do
either.
you?
Yeah. Our video guy Julio
Julio
says he uses them all the time, but no accounting for
Good
taste,
for
right,
him.
folks?
Question.
No accounting for taste. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
question, Dev.
Yeah.
Do you think overall this UI is a little bit more touch friendly?
I think so. I saw some reports from some other sites that were playing with this, so and I can actually just reach over to the screen. People are saying the touch points are a little better. I haven't really noticed it too much. Let me like open up a window here. Touch dragging a window. It seems fine. I haven't like played with it enough. I haven't put it on like a Surface Pro laptop to like make it a touchscreen only interface. I don't think there is a tablet mode right now, at least in this build. So I don't. That's not going to mean
at the bottom right.
We could see down here.
Yeah.
Just make sure there are no updates. Yep. Yeah. There's like a turn.
Yeah,
there is a tablet thing here.
Mode. Yeah.
And that is not here. There's a color mode that changes like the way the colors look, but that's for this laptop. It could just be this build.
Sharing.
Yeah.
So
there's
there
a
are.
question.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
there are people in the chat. There's one person asking. Frank just asks, wonder if the ISO is safe to install. That is extremely your do at your own risk sort of thing. Jong Park responded to Frank saying that you could always install it as a virtual machine.
You can.
Yes, that's absolutely always an option. But
it's the best way to play with things. Honestly.
Yes, please be aware that the situation we're using is you have a completely separate machine that you are just streaming this from, right? So like
this is a laptop.
It does not. Yeah, it doesn't really matter because this is a completely like something that you would be okay with not otherwise using if things got incredibly messed up.
I could blow it away. Like I know how to juggle Windows installs. I know how to deal with Windows, troubleshooting. So I know how to fix it if there's problems. But never put something like this. Yeah, never put something like this on your main computer, folks. It's a bad idea. So anything else? Oh, the
Sandeep
Xbox
McCall
app.
had a question for you really quick, Dev. Notice a lot of your apps that are already installed. Are Netflix, Spotify, and Pixar pre-installed?
I don't know about pre-installed because I had some installed already.
You had them, right? That's what I figure was probably,
I don't think Netflix would have to have a deal with Microsoft to be in there by default. So I don't know. Another thing I'll point out is the Xbox app is installed by default. Whereas I think on Windows 10, this is actually a beta app. So you have to go to the store and find it and download it. So it is like, I think we're going to see more of this integration, Xbox directly into Windows. Maybe like we're hearing about like a new Microsoft Store app that could appear eventually. So I'd expect the Microsoft Store to look a little different once Windows 10 or Windows 11 actually launches. We're hearing they're going to make it easier for developers to just put any sort of app in the store. So that includes .exe executables or .msi, different types of file formats. Right now, it's a little more restrictive, and developers have to repackage them for the store. So I think it's going to become a little more of a free for all, but we'll see. So yeah, Xbox app works fine right now. Everything works fine.
Nice.
I can actually, I think from the desk from here, there's an open Windows terminal.
Nice. That's very much macOS like. That's so much macOS like.
And this is the PowerShell. This is not like CMD. Yeah. That's like another.
I like CMD. There we go.
I like them both. But like I think we are seeing a lot more. This is a little bigger font. I think a little more powerful. Linux folks, Microsoft is doing more Linux integration within Windows. So I think this is part of it. But yeah, there's not much else to show, folks. Like this is a really early leak. It's mainly the interface. There is a new startup chime that I like, but I can't do that for this stream because this app has to remain active. Yeah.
How's the Photos app, the photo viewer app?
I don't think anything really changed, and I don't want to. It's probably going to pull up some apps.
Pictures of your things,
Pictures of my family.
Oh. We love to see.
I can't even tell if this looks different, to be honest.
Well, that's the thing. There's two little things, right? There's the preview app, and then there's the photos situation.
This looks the same as the Photos app. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of dislike that. I prefer preview.
Photos Media Engine. It is funny that like updates and installs are working on this thing. So clearly this is like a test build that's out there and Microsoft is pushing updates to it. I'm surprised they didn't like just kill this build too, because they could easily do that remotely. A part of me wonders, like conspiracy wise, that I'm sure it would be a smart idea for some people at Microsoft if they were like, let's just put this out there. Let's let the Windows nerds get hyped so they do stuff like this on YouTube, and get really excited about our minimal UI changes. So if that's the case, you win, Microsoft. I get it.
I quickly want to address three things in the chat, three people in the chat. Sure. Jung Park, Danny Leong, and Capricious Bibek asked three very good questions. Any info regarding backward compatibility? And is everything else the same? Is it an NTFS file system? Are the Paint and Windows Picture and fax viewers present? I just want to remind, a reminder that this is like a leaked build. That's not the official build yet. So these are questions that we really rather wait till Microsoft itself says it's official before we answer, because you might as well get the official answer. Right?
And a lot of these apps came over from my existing build of Windows 10 too. So because I upgraded it. The Windows Fax and Scan app is still here for that one person who uses it. So the scanning part, I've used the scanning part, but not the faxing. Isn't that the
problem with Windows in general? Like if there are 10 people, especially 10 people in the government or hospitals that use the Windows Fax and Scan app, they need to continue supporting the Windows Fax and Scan app.
It's more like it's going to be some random third-party secure software, not the like built-in one. But yeah, that is the problem with Windows. Like Apple can easily kill older machines. They can stop support for older machines. They can kill older software pretty quickly and just say, deal with it. We're Apple. Microsoft can't do that, right? Microsoft still has to support some apps that ran on Windows XP, and I think even earlier. So this is their predicament. It's going to be interesting to see how they move forward with this. I'm glad they went for a whole new version rather than Windows 10X, and just trying to explain what that is to people is really confusing. So this, I think, is going to make more sense for a lot of folks. And it's probably just going to come as like a Windows update,
I'm also old enough to remember when Windows 8 jumped to Windows 10, and then everybody made the 789 joke. But, Great that they kept the numbers.
You're
sequential.
Old enough for that thing that happened 7 years ago.
So
it was like 6
years.
Sherlyn is at least 7 years old, is what we're saying.
Yep. So anyway, folks, this is the Windows 11 leak. It's leaky. It's fine.
So is there any possible?
Not right now. I wonder if they're going to offer some more tweaks, but I do feel like they are purposefully trying to declutter Windows at this point. So that's why I can't enable titles on the taskbar. I can't there are options to like add other things to the start menu, like your recently used apps, but I don't think those are actually making a difference here. I think maybe it only shows up under the all app section for most used. So there's a lot of options and stuff carried over from Windows 10 that don't do anything yet. Wait till we see the full OS. I don't want to get too angry about something that's missing now, because they could easily be working on it.
And
also,
well, no, Shirley, you go.
I was just gonna say, also come back next week, literally a week from today, to see to watch a live stream here on the Engadget YouTube channel. You should be able to do that, and then we'll have this podcast right after to kind of go over our thoughts on what Microsoft unveiled.
Absolutely.
The official. Sorry, Ben, you were saying.
So last week or so, you were talking about how, like, do we even need a Windows 11? Because the OS can be dynamically updated pretty easily. We've just reached a point in computing where you can push updates in a quieter way.
Yeah. They were saying this when Windows 10 came out, like this will be the last Windows, like this will be the infinite Windows. And I think
what a
Windows
number
11,
to end on.
Yeah. I think 11 may just be a continuation of Windows 10. That's all. Ooh, I like this.
So we may be having
this.
a minor sound problem. I'm seeing the chat say that the sound may be coming out in and out, but hopefully I'm just going to continue on, and hopefully we're
For sure.
Okay.
Somebody mentioned, by the way, dark themes. So I just want to quickly point
Yes,
out in
is
the
there dark
themes
mode?
section. So this is a dark theme. This is not a dark mode, but you can change. So I had the sunrise mode, which gives you the lighter taskbar.
Mhm.
So I had sunrise before, which I like. This is nice background.
We need the banner because I can't see the taskbar.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
you might need to remove the banner video team.
Screencast of the Windows 11 link, in order to be able to see.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Yeah, let's take a look at the
Thank you.
darker taskbar again.
It's a dark taskbar, folks. Let's not get too excited. This one's glow.
Okay.
Ugh.
Oh,
They're like, so this is glow. This is like a
these are
neon
whole
one.
themes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, the darker
Cool.
taskbar. I see it now.
Yep.
So back to what I was saying before about
some
back to
transparency here. Yep.
Okay, so back to what I was saying before about like infinite windows. It may end up being that they could just push this kind of quietly in the next 6 months, and then it gets to be a more of a like philosophical question of when does a new OS start feeling like a new OS? Is it when they introduce some new methods for interacting with Windows, or is it when they like introduce new animations? Because that used to be the thing that made a new operating system feel new.
It did, but I think Apple just rewrote all the rules because OS X or Mac OS right now looks fundamentally the same as the very first version of OS X in like 2001, 2002, right? I don't think Apple has they focused more on their mobile OSs since that, but even Apple has been like every version of Mac OS is just like an incremental step forward.
I mean, that's the whole point too, right? With every OS, whether it's a desktop OS or a phone OS, you can't radically change too much because people still want the muscle memory things. They want to know how the OS still works at the core level. So I don't think there's too much that can be done to like revamp an OS. If you place things in different places, people are going to get mad.
Exactly. You can't just be willy-nilly about it. But I'm sure everyone's going to have their favorite theme and things like that.
Yeah,
oh boy, I like this one.
If you change too much, if you really fundamentally change like how animation, even animations, if you change animations too much and it isn't like rigorously tested with a bunch of people who could, if you do market tests or something, that could always end up as a point of some kind of rumor leak in its own way. So they might not want to do that. But like, even if you change animations and people don't like it, they'll be like, oh, this entire operating system sucks because not much changed. And then also, I don't like these new animations. I find them jarring.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, we are going to wrap up. Any other questions, folks? We're going to have Jess Condit coming in. We're going to talk about E3. We don't know about internal changes to Windows 11 yet. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. One thing we were talking about, Sherlyn, I think as they announced this event, give us more of that dual screen device support. Like show us how Windows will work on these dual screen systems. Maybe this is going to be their shot to be like, hey, the Surface Neo still exists. Maybe it's going to come at the end of the year or something. I don't know. They pretty much delayed that and stopped talking about it from the end of last year. So I think after seeing how the Surface Duo did, Microsoft's just like, nobody wants this. But maybe a Neo, which is a little bigger, is a little more powerful, ran Windows app. Yeah, I think maybe that would be more a thing for people. So we'll see. And also ARM devices. Maybe internally, like they can do some better work to work better with ARM chips and make ARM less restrictive.
That's the sort of thing I think we're looking out for, right? I think that like on the surface, we've seen what we can from this leak, but there's a lot of like internal architecture stuff. There's emulator layer stuff that we want to learn about that we can really only hear about until when like Microsoft officially talks about it. Lots of these questions coming in through the chat right now are going to only be answered when Microsoft has its official word out. Reminder, this is a leaked version of Windows 11
of an incomplete build. I'm hearing
it could be
incomplete build, so not everything.
The answers from this are not going to be final. Let's wait for official word. You know what I mean?
It's a taste. This is an appetizer.
Yeah. Like one of the really, I think, substantive questions that I saw from the chat is like asking about security measures, like in Windows 11. and I don't think that we're really going to be able to say
we don't
anything
know
about that.
Although
because, yeah,
I will say I put this on the Surface Pro 4 or Surface Laptop 4, and the Windows Hello face recognition security just worked. So all the Windows Hello stuff, all their authentication stuff will still be here. And Windows 10 has been a pretty secure OS. I lived through supporting Windows XP, folks. You know, that was a nightmare. So we have come a very, very long way. Trust me.
So it may end up being so. Also, like, don't get annoyed at Windows right now, because this is basically,
you don't know what's real. Yeah.
This is like baby step toward Windows 11. There could be lots of whiz bang things that aren't quite working, and so they barely even put it into this test build, or it may only be for a few people who are working on it. So.
While we get ready for Jess to join us for E3 talk, I have a personal question to ask everyone watching.
Sure.
Is it just me, or do I look like I'm balding?
What?
I didn't want to say anything.
I'm self-conscious about like the thinness of my hair around here.
It's just your bangs.
That could just be
your
me.
bangs.
Yeah, I think it's really just how the bangs.
But also, you're getting older. We all lose a little hair. Unfortunately, we all do.
Yeah. I am this many years old.
4 years old.
So y'all in the chat, let me know. Sorry to distract.
I think you gotta talk to your stylist. Gee,
I know.
We need Windows hair. We need Windows hair.
I need to move. I need to move some pieces over and like. Oh boy! But I had a question also for the podcast team. We're doing E3 talk, and then we're doing picks and working on it in picks, right?
Yeah.
Is Jess staying on for that? Do we want her to stick around for that?
It's all up to Jess.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's prepared for that, so
we'll just let her go. Gotcha.
So, Sherlyn, when was the last time that you had a professional haircut? Because
in November.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
November.
Okay. That's not that bad.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
I still need to get my wife back to the salon. She's not wanted to go.
Yeah. The time I went in November, it was nice because no one else really was there. I was the only customer in the store. They had big partitions between seats, as if they were occupied, I would feel a bit better. But yeah, it was just me and the hairstylist.
I got my first haircut, professional haircut, in a year a couple of weeks ago at the very beginning, the first Friday of June. And I wasn't really freaked out about it. I've been fully vaccinated for several weeks before that. So I wasn't really worried. But just the entire vibe of New York City right now. Yeah. Engadget is based in New York City. And so that's where everyone kind of is. It's very, very strange because so a couple weeks ago when I got this haircut was the first time that I actually did normal things, and it was really confusing because everyone is wearing masks, especially on the subway. That's very heartening. But the weird thing is that if you try to do anything, imagine you're going to a restaurant or something, you will be walking on the street, and most likely you aren't going to be wearing your mask because CDC said that it was fine. You can be outside not wearing a mask. You will walk up to the person, the maitre d' or reception person, whatever you call it, and so you'll put on your mask a couple seconds before that if you're going to a restaurant. Then they will seat you either inside or outside, and then you will take your mask off immediately. Only a grand total of maybe 2.5 minutes of mask time. It is perfunctory. It's very strange.
Listen,
there's
we're
a
in a
lot of
strange
things
time.
now. Yeah, it feels weird that first we have to adjust to all of us bringing masks out when you keys, wallet, mask, right? And now when I go out, I'm just I don't actually need to take my mask with me most places anymore. My building
you should still have the mask, but yeah,
I know I will always bring it because it's always good to have for indoor spaces. But my building doesn't have the restriction. For my building, it's if I'm vaccinated fully, then I don't need to wear a mask in shared spaces anymore. Obviously, still wear it to be safe, but
are they confirming that you're vaccinated, or they're just hey?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not really, right?
There's no real
way.
This is the
Yeah, it's up
worst
to you.
honor system because we
It's an
spent the
honor
last
system
year
for
showing
sure.
how so many people are dishonorable. So
Let's see.
anyway,
Although I am kind of happy that, like, I don't know if the thing that I have on my phone is technically like the vaccine passport that everyone is talking about, but I was told by like a friend of a friend that like go to, you know, there's this app where you can just literally look up your vaccination records, put in your first name, last name, and I think birth date, and so then it will give you kind of like a phone version of, you know, some kind of little card that shows that you are fully vaccinated, and a QR code that I don't know if anyone will ever actually scan.
Okay, I don't know if
But-
that's actually real, but yeah, because they haven't centralized this information in a database. That's the thing. Oh, we should be doing that.
So are you saying that maybe I just gave my first name, last name,
I
and
don't-
birth date to some random thing?
Why
Because
are you doing it? Did it actually pull up accurate information about your vaccines?
Yes, it did.
That's
And
weird. That's not a public database, so that is just very strange.
well, but is it? Could it be a New York State thing?
It could be. Maybe it's
yeah,
that.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. So,
All right,
I think
kids. While we wait
Yeah.
for E3 talk and stuff like that, we can probably talk a little bit more about Windows 11 if there's more questions, or what do you think?
Whatever. I
yeah,
saw
we
some
do
questions about, by the way, just mandatory Windows updates. I don't think anything has changed
Yep.
from Windows 10.
Yep.
I'm just looking at the options. It is mandatory in the sense that they really, really want you to do the big updates, the big security updates, but I don't see anything forcing it. And I used to work in IT, guys. Do the updates, for the love of God. This is also why I knew we could not be trusted to deal with people wearing masks and taking care of themselves during a pandemic, because people can't even update the antivirus in the software on their computers. Cannot trust them for anything.
Okay,
Oh,
so
boy.
that answers the question that I was going to ask, which is like the one outstanding thing from the chat is like Windows auto update enforced, or can it be disabled?
Yeah.
I understand why it might be annoying, but yeah, it's probably a good idea for you to do it unless you are an institutional person. But if you're a institutional person, if you're like a system administrator or IT person,
you
for
have
some
more
big,
controls.
situation.
They have controls of what they can do.
Yeah, you have big controls, and also like you already know all of this stuff. So
so an IT person would ideally want to like get the update in like a centralized location, then just push it to all the machines. So they control the machines. That's not up to you as the end user.
J. Nicolette Bailey said that they started training for Microsoft on Windows 3.1. Those were the days. Holy crap, 3.1. What a throwback.
What year was that?
Like
Ages ago,
92 to 90, before 95, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my! I remember floppy disk. Fucking yeah.
But the actual real floppy disks,
not even the 3.5. Yeah.
Okay,
the ones
yeah.
that were actually floppy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the ones that were actually floppy.
Impendio asks, and I saw this question earlier in the chat too. If what do we think about the conspiracy theory that Microsoft leaked this themselves?
Listen, they've been very quiet about it. Yeah, but yeah. I would not be shocked if they did this too, because Microsoft needs whatever little hype they can get, and this is a fully functioning, very stable build of the OS that just kind of appeared on the internet. So it is not hard for somebody who's been testing this to leak it out. But also, I don't know. I think it generates some buzz for Microsoft. Now people are talking about Windows 11, even though their big event, like I don't know if this spoils their big event, right? Because they could still have their big media event. It's just the online nerds can be like, hey, look at this thing that we got illicitly, like us.
So if we were to give it a number, I think this would be like Windows 11 0.0.0.1 or something like that. Like really early in the build cycle. Or maybe like I don't know how to name versions. It could be 10.9.9.9 or something like that. Like barely a new thing, maybe a little bit reskinned. It's showing you a little bit of how things might work in the future. But again, don't get mad at it, because this is so early that we don't know whether or not there are game-changing things coming a bit later on.
Absolutely.
I saw a question just now that I'm not sure if now's the time to talk about it, or if we'll ever get to talking about it on the podcast proper. But a good question. Have we watched Loki episode 2?
I haven't seen episode 2 yet.
I have. It's so good. Oh my god.
It's good. It's a good show so far.
It's a good show. It's a good series so far. I mean, look, I love me some Loki. I was really pissed that spoiler alert for Infinity War. Spoiler alert for Infinity War.
Wow. Okay. How old is Infinity War now?
Yeah, 2 years to watch.
Who knows? Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, spoiler alert done. I'm annoyed that they killed him off just as he was becoming like a great character, like likable, lovable redemption arc character, even though like his story was sort of told after the redemption arc, but they found a new story for him sort of by doing this.
Did he get killed right at the beginning of Infinity War?
Yes, totally the beginning.
I think that's where I was like, I don't like this movie. Actually, I think Infinity War is a bad movie because it moves
it's too quickly. It's the one where you didn't like it
It doesn't give you time to like deal with any things that happen, but then Endgame was all about that process. So okay, I guess it kind of worked.
And
like
all the TV shows after have been about processing, have been about dealing with grief. I can't wait to see how Thor deals with his actual, like his brushed under the rug grief, because that man has lost so much.
Okay. Are we having any connection issues with Jess, by the way? I'm just wondering if we need to do anything else.
I'm not sure.
We're waiting for Jess Condit to join, and then we're going to talk about E3.
Yep. Yes. Send us your E3 now. You might as well, so that we can ask them.
I'm really curious what those contracts look like. For
which ones?
For like all of the actors in the MCU. Like Tom Hiddleston has been Loki for a good
I think
almost 10 years now.
Around 2009, 2008. It was 2009, but when they started announcing the full MCU lineup, they made sure to lock people in for like at least a 3-picture contract. And I think it ended up being like basically decades long, and then they could renew or whatever. But yeah, they were playing the long game from the beginning.
But it just seems like a really a incredibly long contract.
Long contract standards. I mean, Loki was the first Avengers. Was that 2012? So that was Tom Hiddleston's like big debut. And I think of all the characters, like he's gone through a lot of changes. He doesn't seem tired of it, whereas I think a lot of the other MCU folks just seem like, especially Robert Downey Jr., just seem like he wants to be done with it. Like, there was a point where they went to all CG suits because Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to put on, actual Iron Man hardware. And that was just true for everybody. It was easier to do CG suits. But Hiddleston seems game. I'm totally down. We could just do our E3 bit, and if Jess wants to join us midway through, we could do that as well. Or we could just start recording how about we do the last 2 sections just so we knock them
let's
out?
do the last 2 sections, the working on and picks. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we are just maneuvering our little...
so you are actually seeing the podcast be produced live, everyone. We are making a judgment call right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Just so we can get stuff out there. Okay.
Let's get to it.
Let's move on to what we've been working on. And if you can't tell, I'm doing a lot of prep for the Microsoft event. I'm pinging to see if we could talk to anybody. I think we're going to have some time to chat with Microsoft folks after the event. So it should all be fun. Stay tuned next week for a lot of Microsoft, Windows 11 news. And hopefully it looks like an even bigger upgrade than this leak we've seen. Trillin, what's up with you?
I think I have maybe 7 ongoing reviews at this time. I finally finished the review for the laptop I've been testing the last 2 weeks or so. So stay tuned for that to come out soon. If not later this week, then early next. But I'm reviewing the Fitbit Luxe, which we have, and it's a basic tracker in the body of a beautiful tracker. I don't know. And then a bunch of phones, bunch of things, bunch of other things I can't talk about. But if you've seen the news, you know what's coming. And I'm trying not to die. Also prepping for the Microsoft event in the midst of all of that, which will be fun. Sure.
Should be fun, man. I feel like that's gonna be the last major tech event for a little while. I hope, cross my fingers. because we've gone from like WWDC to E3 to everything, and like I need a break.
Usually around this time too,
God.
actually maybe a little earlier than this in the year, Dev, you and I usually covering Tribeca, but this year we haven't been able to devote a lot of time
anytime
to Tribeca.
like there was some stuff happening at Tribeca virtually, and they even had some in-person stuff. I'm just like,
yes,
we're done, guys. I'm cooked. I don't
there's
have
too much going
left.
on. Yeah. So
and nobody, Tribeca as a show too is one where it's like nobody actually really cared about the movies or anything. We went for the VR, but hopefully we'll get some of that stuff to cover. I do plan to be looking at the new HTC Vive Pro and the Focus 3, so that's another thing to look forward to. Let's move on to our picks. What you got this week, Shirley?
So this is my leftover from last week because I had too many and I was an overachiever. I actually have more to recommend, but I will stick to just 2 this week, I believe. Number 1, I mean, we were also just talking about Loki episode 2 just before we start recording this segment. But by the way, if you haven't seen Loki, go watch it now. My main recommendation this week is this series, and I'm so nervous about your reaction to this.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
This TV series on Netflix called Zoo.
Of course you're watching Zoo. Yes. Of course you're watching it.
Do you hate it? Why do you hate it? I
don't hate it. It just, I think when the show came out, I started watching a couple episodes. It had a reputation for being one of the craziest shows on TV, right? Because it's what is it about? It's just animals go crazy, right? So the whole
premise, exactly, the whole premise of Zoo is that mankind has been top of the food chain, but it's not really actually top of the food chain. It's actually because of the technology.
It's very fringe. It's very fringe, except if the animals went crazy.
The animals, though, started developing new skills. So it's basically like X-Men, but animals, right? Like the animals are all mutating. They have new skills, like
bored,
answer electric charge. I just look. So the other things that I started watching a new series after Zoo, and I won't say what it is yet, but it's basically the very like early 2000s or even the 2010s sort of era of post Lost or in the same time frame as Lost type of show where it's like
there were so many post Lost like things. God.
So many heroes like. Fringe is sort of there, but not really. But that sort of pacing, that sort of storytelling, it sucks me in. I think there's this show with Kevin Space, the Which kid one? With the numbers. What's that? Guy in 24. Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
Sutherland? Yeah, he started. Yeah. Touch, I think, is the name of this TV series.
Yeah.
Where his
that
son,
big budget show.
Yeah. And then there was 24, there was Flash Forward, all those shows.
24 was before Lost. 24 was like ahead of like 24.
Sorry, I didn't mean 24.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was 24 and Alias, I think, were like came around the same time and were like these, hey, you could do kind of like mid-budget action movie on TV now and people would be into it. So that's something. Well, I hope you're enjoying Zoo, Sherlyn. I hear it gets quickly even crazier. Yeah.
To finish it really quickly, Zoo stars Billy Burke. I know him from freaking Twilight of all things. And it's about these animals and this team of like a forensic pathologist or something. Tripping on words right now. But it gets a little crazy and it gets a little far out there in the later seasons. But the first season was really enjoyable, very gripping. Just the idea that animals are reclaiming their spots at the top of the food chain by mutating or just like thwarting human technology. I thought that was really cool. I have one more recommendation because I can never stop at one. But my second recommendation, excuse me. I gave 2. I'm trying to remember what they are. Greenland, by the way, have you seen it?
That is on my list of things to see. I hear it's a Gerard Butler movie that is actually better than it should be. Like it's a disaster movie, and it has Miranda Baccarin, who I love. So yeah, sure, I'll watch that.
So Greenland is an apocalyptic movie. The world's coming to an end, and parts of it are very hard to watch because
is it just comets or is it like a big asteroid? What's going on?
It's sort of comets. It's basically like different debris is falling down from this comet that they thought was going to pass the Earth, but actually no, it's headed right for Earth. And it's lots of like it's a big tale of big chunks of debris, and the last one's gonna hit and destroy Earth, right? But they have underground bunkers that they're trying to head to in Greenland.
Yeah.
Of course they do. So Gerard Butler, you know, loves his disaster movies, I guess, because Geostorm, this is basically Geostorm. Which I did watch too. And Morena I was like, where do I know her from? She's from Deadpool. Does a great job too.
And Firefly. Come on. Not just Deadpool.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, she was also in Firefly. You're right. But yeah, no, it was a great disaster movie. If you wanted to watch it, the acting is good. Parts of the story were slightly annoying, but eventually works out. I did enjoy it. So
I'm looking forward to I'm basically in the process of setting up a projector screen too. So I do feel like I need a big movie to do this with. So give me something to watch on a 120-inch projector screen. I feel like this would be a good one. Yeah.
I'll also say that Greenland just got like green lit for a sequel. So
sure, he is so good at that. Gerard Butler in sequels.
Yeah, good for him. So
how many times did he save the president or was framed for trying to kill the president? Like that's at least 3 movies.
Trying to remember. I remember Geostorm. I remember this one, and then I can't remember the last one.
It's like London Falling. All those things.
One of those.
Yeah. Let's go with. Are you want to mention anything else? Really?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with my 2. So a TV series and a movie. So there you go.
A bunch of stuff. Okay, I want to shout out, of course, In the Heights, which just dropped on HBO Max. It is the John Chu film adaptation of the Lin-Manuel Miranda musical too, and also written by Chiara Alegria Hudes, who doesn't get enough play, I think, when we're talking about these things. Celebration of Washington Heights in New York. Let me tell you guys, as somebody who's been missing New York really hard and like everything about it, like the sights and sounds, the bodegas, my bodega crew, the good like Puerto Rican food I get from my wife's family, like I'm missing all of it. And watching this movie, it is really hard to watch it as a former New Yorker and not tear up. It is such a great celebration of New York and immigrant communities in New York, and like it is also just a fantastic musical. When I reviewed this on the /Filmcast, my main takeaway is that John Chu did not have to go so hard for this movie, right? It is an incredible, like the musical is good. You can have a couple people singing and dancing in the street, like fine, it'd be good. He's got hundreds of people in huge like choreographed sequences in the middle of like a major New York street, and in the middle of like one of the huge pools in Washington Heights too. Like the sheer level of like complexity of the choreography and the actual work and the camera work and the technical aspects of it too. Like it's a great film with great characters. I think the songs are great. It's fantastic. So check out In the Heights, especially if you can see it in theaters. And I do miss the fact that I would have loved so much to see this in a crowded New York theater, you know, like this is what this movie was made for. It's good. Yes. Check it out.
What do you think about the criticism of it not featuring enough Afro Latinx?
I'm glad we're talking about that, because that's a thing. A lot of like Latin media, and honestly, it's a thing of like a lot of media in general. You look at Bollywood movies, you look at movies of any film industry from around the world. Colorism always plays a role. It's always lighter skinned folks who become stars or who are celebrated, and that's like the virtue. So I think this film kind of falls victim to that as well. Honestly, even John Chu's last movie, like Crazy Rich Asians, love the movie. There weren't really many brown Southeast Asians in that.
Dude, you know, that really pissed me off, because there was maybe 1 or 2 Indian.
There was
people
one
in that
like
movie.
sick guard that they were afraid of because he was kind of scary.
Right. He was guarding the rich person's place, and then
because he's a brown man.
But in Singapore, there's so many more Indian and Malay people than that. This is really annoying for me to see. I was just like, I mean, okay, look, I get it that like Chinese people are predominantly more of the rich people, but there's very rich Indian people in Singapore too. For sure. And that was just very annoying to not.
This is why we just gotta keep bringing it up. So as much as I love Crazy Rich Asians, I love In the Heights, but I do think like you got to hold creators to account. It's a good conversation to have. So I don't think it's like enough to like boycott this movie. I don't think they're like actively trying to keep people out in some respects, but the inability to think about skin color representation is a big issue, and we got to keep bringing it up. That's the main thing. And speaking of good representation, I just want to shout out again We Are Lady Parts on Peacock. I think I talked about it last week or the other week,
yeah.
but I did finish it. And it's only
Nice.
6 episodes. It's basically a 3-hour movie. It's about like a 20-something Muslim girls doing a punk band. This show rules so hard. Like, having finished it, it is fantastic, and I want everybody to see it. You do have to subscribe to Peacock to like see the whole season, but I do think it's worth it. Maybe they'll like make it available for sale on iTunes or something later. But yeah, love it. You never see like actual practicing Muslims on TV like this. Just like they're just girls. They're young girls who want to like live their lives. Some of them are maybe more devout than others, but they all like are still, they all still consider themselves Muslim. They don't like, they're not atheists or anything. I do think that balance of following how people manage their faith while also trying to be a little anarchic and trying to be a little rebellious, how that all works together is really interesting to see. I've never seen anything on TV like it. So I want to shout that out. And real quick, the thing you mentioned, Sherlyn. So by bringing up Zoo, you're also reminded me that I'm watching Sweet Tooth on Netflix. So if you're looking for another good like post-apocalyptic thing, this is based on a comic, which I hear is really dark and depressing. This is another like basically virus destroys the world type thing, and then hybrid animal kids come about. So this is a good follow-up for you from Zoo, Sherlyn.
Yeah,
but it is a very sweet show so far. I think like it is really, I don't think pandemic stuff and virus, destroying the world media is great for everybody right now, but this one is a very sweet story about a little boy who is basically orphaned early on and has to team up with somebody who usually hunts human hybrids. It's a lot. There's a lot of X-Men in here. There's a lot of like, I feel like Why the Last Man too is a really good looking show, really well written, and it's shot in New Zealand too, so it feels like epic in the way that a lot of like American produced things don't. There are a lot of those big Lord of the Rings camera angles. So I'm really digging it. Check out Sweet Tooth as well.
I've been seeing the not ads, but the kind of teaser type things for it on Netflix, and I have it on my list. I just didn't think I want to check it because like it seemed so child centric. I was worried that it would be like a more child friendly show than.
And apparently the comic is even worse. Like the comic is just like brutal. So they sweetened the show up quite a bit. And I appreciate that. All right. You want to wrap, Sherlyn? And then we'll come back around?
Yeah, I'll wrap and then, we'll chat with the audience a little bit and then start E3, I guess. Okay. Well, that's it for our episode this week, everyone. Thank you as always for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. You can find Devindra online at
Devindra on Twitter, and I chat about movies at the /filmcast at /film.com.
If you want to send me more TV shows of that time of TV, I guess, right after Lost, their mysteries that suck you in.
I've got so many. Yeah.
Yes, send them all to me at Sherlyn Lowe on Twitter. Email us your thoughts, feedback, and questions at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts, including Spotify.
Woo!
Okay, just a message to the viewers in the chat. We are not done. It's just that we did things incredibly out of order. So we still have a E3
We're still here
coming up.
We're still here. We're going to talk E3.
We're going to be talking about E3. We're going to be talking about all the games that were released and everything of that nature. Do we have a status on Jess?
She's not she seems like she's online now on Slack, actually, so she just got online. She might be joining. At Larry Crocker, this is live, not pre-recorded.
We are very much live. So live, in fact. I'm gonna run and take a bathroom break while we you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
We can answer some questions while we wait for Dev to take that and for E3 section to start. John Lukowski, I think, mentioned a TV show that I'm not gonna mention right now, but it's on my list to recommend sometime. But I have been watching it and it's very good.
So when people were talking about Sweet Tooth, I was not thinking about human animal hybrids at all. I was thinking about the PlayStation series Twisted Metal. Those battle cars. Can somebody back me up in the chat? The
Dev will come back and
yes, he will absolutely back me up.
Yes, we did talk about Loki episode 2 already. I believe Jonathan Anderson was asking. Sorry about that. You can also rewind a little bit on this stream to see the hands-on with Windows 11 if you want to.
Yeah, I imagine that comes about like 30 to 45 minutes into the stream, so you can just seek around that part, and uh yeah, you can look and watch as
Yeah.
people just shouted
Um,
stuff at us, and they were like, let's see
yeah.
this, let's see that.
Unfortunately, the if you're rewinding, you can't ask your questions live anymore. But we hope it's still. I think it's still pretty, comprehensive in terms of what it got covered. Stick
Yeah,
around. We're
honestly, that
still
would be
doing E3.
confusing.
Right. We're still doing E3 chat after this. Like I said, stick around. But let's see if there's more.
That seems
I
like the
think.
sort of thing that YouTube should just disable. Like if you're watching a later or like an earlier part of a stream,
Mhm.
you shouldn't be able to put anything into the chat. Like you should have to watch live in order to put things in the chat.
I don't think people are able to chat after it's if they're watching afterwards, unless you're saying the show is still live, and then they're
Yes. Well, yes,
Okay.
that's what I mean. If the show is still
Okay.
live and they've rewound.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh, Devendra is back, so you have someone to support you for that.
Oh yeah.
Sweet Tooth
So Dev, I was saying that when people started talking about Sweet Tooth right after it came out, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that it was about human animal hybrids or that there was any kind of connection to comics. I was just thinking about that PlayStation series with the battle cars, Twisted Metal.
Okay.
And
You thought it was a Twisted Metal adaptation?
I had no idea. I love
Twisted Metal. Yeah.
I just remember it was a scary clown. Sweet Tooth was a scary clown, and may have been like a scary clown ice cream truck, and that was the whole idea. I don't know anything about Twisted Metal lore. I only played it at friends' houses because that was a violent video game that I was not allowed to play. But sure, Twisted Metal also had a Sweet Tooth.
Okay. No real status update yet on.
It's okay. She could be getting up late, so we could just do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it would just be me talking about a couple of games I really enjoyed, and you guys can respond.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. And if Jess shows up, we just introduce her.
Sleep her in. That's fine. What do you say? We have half an hour.
Our thing has been like streaming nonstop over the weekend, and like
we've been. So
everybody's.
Did I mention Jess at the beginning? I may have to redo some of the beginning. We'll see. For audio,
maybe you just do like you didn't mention Jess, but you can also just say also joining us for this, and then like just cut it.
Yeah. I don't think that you need to say that up top.
The whole intro again. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let me just pull up my notes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the E3 notes too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can also talk about my E3 story and then talk about
we'll
the new game I started playing. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna kick it off. So let's move on to some highlights from E3. If you guys have been checking out our YouTube channel over the past week, we have been doing a lot of live streams for all the major events. So like Ubisoft's E3 event and Xbox and Microsoft. And it was me, Jessica Condit, and Matt Smith, our UK bureau chief. We kind of all just broke down and followed these things live. Overall, it was a pretty it was a interesting show just because there were certainly a lot of big games. It didn't feel to me as impressive as going to a live E3, like actually being able to get hands-on time with the games. So this is all just a way for developers to show off. But it was cool. And I think you had a really good takeaway too, Sherlyn, right? Just in terms of what you noticed for closed captioning.
Yes. So, I mean, we can quickly talk about that before diving into all the game stuff. I think because it's important. So as of day 3 of E3, which was, I want to say Tuesday or Monday, because over the weekend it was fine. Monday was like day 3 of E3, and closed captionings were a garbled mess. Closed captions were a garbled mess. If you turn them on, you were, watching them, you were hard of hearing deaf or just wanted to watch without the sound. You will have noticed that like the closed captioning was awful. There was like there's an article on Engadget.com you can go look at for screenshots of how bad these were. None of the words made sense. Metroid Prime was Moroid Prime. Tony Hawk Skater Pro was NY Hawkstar. Guitar Hero was Guitar Ho.
Do you think people were like, was it a live typer or was it automatic, you think?
So yeah. So Aaron Support is our executive editor, started to notice this and he pinged me to go take a look. And we looked at it and we were like, oh, okay. I was like, is it only on Twitch or is it also on YouTube? So it was happening on both platforms. And then we hit up the ESA, which is the Entertainment Software Association that organizes E3. And we were like, hey, what's up with your closed captions? Who does it? Is it AI? Is it manual? And can you give us all these answers? So they did explain after a few hours. They were like, so yes, we hire a manual, like a team of trained manual captioners. So these are human stenographers that are supposed to do this. And then I also at the same time started talking to our very own Dennis Skarna on the streaming team because he's very familiar with closed captioning technology, and he was explaining to me how it worked. So human streamers get an encoding box to type the captions into from a feed that they're also given of the audio. And, that gets fed back to the organization's streaming infrastructure. So there's a whole process here. It's not like as simple as they're typing directly into YouTube and whatever they type just shows up, right? There's a bunch of channels it feeds through. And it's important to bring this up because it doesn't, even though they did employ human captioners, it's not necessarily human error that was leading to this chaos of captions. It seemed like possibly corrupt data somewhere in the streams, in the transfer that might have been lost. And basically it was very bad for the whole day on E3 Day 3. And also for part of the day on day 4, because I started getting, after the article published at the end of the day on day 3, on day 4, Jesus, people were still telling me, they were like, this shit is bad. So awful. Look, it's hard. It's manual captioning is a tough job. Let's not, I thank everyone that's doing this job. It can be thankless. It's really hard to keep up with fast talkers and crosstalk.
And it sucks when
all of that.
The platforms you're working on don't support your hard work. And we know what that's like when we're working hard and our CMS falls apart. So it is the tools that is often the problem, right?
So a quick shout out to all closed captioners, stenographers, transcribers out there. We see you. We appreciate your hard work. In this case,
we read you.
It looked like we read you. Yeah, it looked like it was indeed again corrupt data, but ESA hasn't really got an explanation as to what was happening just yet. And the other thing is we could have used maybe AI, I guess, for live closed captioning, but AI captions are imperfect. They're not that reliable just yet. And human, captioners are often better.
Would it be more imperfect than this? The thing?
Well, this situation... Yeah, I spoke again. Dennis Skarna said that even if he didn't say this, but if it was corrupt data, an AI captioner would have struggled too, right? Because if it was the feed that the AI was listening to that was garbled, the AI would have transcribed it wrong too. Like let's say you take out the Google Recorder app and the audio that the Recorder app is listening to is already jumbled up. It's going to transcribe jumbled up shit. But we don't know exactly what happened. We still are waiting on the ESA. To explain.
I do think in a few years maybe some of these systems will get simplified, just from what we're seeing when it comes to automatic transcription services that are coming to things like Microsoft Teams and other solutions. Some of that stuff seems downright magical in terms of how it's interpreting human voice and getting it down. So I hope we get better with this in general. This seems like a really basic error they made here, and we still don't know what the issue is, right?
Yeah, I will. I want to shout out our very own captioner for this podcast on our YouTube stream that they're doing a great job. And the captions that came out of E3's live stream were not good. Again, I don't want to blame any human person here because A, it's a very difficult job. B, it's very thankless. And C, it might not even have been their fault. But E3, the ESA should have paid better attention to this, because the point that I was making in that article is that people who are deaf, people who have disabilities, are gamers too. They should be part of the conversation, and this is just not. It's you can't overlook this.
It's not great.
Excuse me. So, that was an interesting thing that caught our attention, and I'm glad we were able to jump on it.
Definitely. I think you were the only one writing about that too. So yeah, this is it's a little scoop for you. Yeah. Cool.
It was nice.
We covered a lot of games too. So many games. I'm not going to list them all here, but I'll say some of the notable things. And this whole E3 week kind of kicked off with the Summer Games Festival Showcase, which technically was not part of E3. I forget how all that works, because we know like Summer Games Fest is basically competing directly with everything the ESA does. So they're kind of frenemies right now. But I think the big reveal at that one was Elden Ring, the next game from Software, which looks cool. It looks so basically like, it actually looks more like Demon Souls rather than Dark Souls, but you got a horse, you're moving around. So it's like Shadow of the Colossus meets Demon Souls. I really liked their last major game, Sekiro, which was more like you were a ninja, just hopping around killing people. I am hit or miss with the Souls games, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not just that they're hard, but I do think like sometimes they're so punishing that I just feel so I don't know, dejected by playing them. But I know many people who love it, and this looks really cool. This looks like a dark take on like a Legend of Zelda game, even, or like more like Shadow of Colossus. Like, you still got the big enemies. You
know what struck me about this is when I read about it on our website, the George R.R. Martin's involvement in
doing the story. Yeah, he's doing anything except writing the last book of Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone's like,
anything from him.
Apparently, he went on vacation to like some sort of island getaway or something, and people were like, George R.R. Martin, get to work, finish your book.
Stop writing games.
Stop writing games. But yeah, apparently he worked on the story or the mythology behind this too. So it looks really cool. I like me some dark fantasy. I need to like really pour over the soldier. I love the scale of their enemies and their worlds and everything. I'm sure it looks cool to you, Sherlyn, but I want to know how you feel when you play one of these things, because just the sheer level of like frustration and anxiety I feel playing these games is really hard to like deal with. Anyway, Super Horse. The horse can fly or jump really high too. So that's cool. That's cool.
What platform can I play Elden Ring on?
I believe it'll be PS5. I don't think it's an exclusive, but it's going to be next gen.
It should be
PS5, maybe Xbox Series X. I got to double check here. But given how big this game and how good it looks, like, yeah, you're going to need new hardware for this. It looks really cool. I cannot wait to play it. And I think after this video, the trailers for it were leaked. So there were like crummy bootleg copies of it floating around for a while. It is really nice to see this game running, the actual full hardware. And it looks cool. It just looks so cool. Big enemies, lots of cool designs. I have to say, like, it is one of my favorite series is Berserk, and also the author of that series recently passed away, so rest in peace. Berserk, dark medieval, dark fantasy. Berserk was doing dark fantasy, before Game of Thrones was even like a thing, and I think it helped to like cement it as a genre. So all these Souls games have been very Berserk. This one looks the most Berserk, and I'm really digging it. So Elden Ring should be pretty cool.
Nice. I'll check it out. But there were some other games, right? And I'm personally more interested in horror games. We can get to that later. But there were other E3 events, right?
Yeah. Oh, and they're saying PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X. It is going to be old. Xbox. Yeah, early platforms too.
Nice.
There were many other games. I covered the Ubisoft showcase with Just Condit too. And there are a couple of big ones. The main one we were expecting to hear more about was Rainbow Six Extraction, which was originally called Rainbow Six Quarantine, and they probably had to change that name. Yeah, it is a Rainbow Six game that takes place in a world that has basically been infested by aliens, or it seems like aliens are going off. And the thing about Rainbow Six is that typically it's like realistic squad military type stuff. This one is more like fantastical. So, there's a lot going on here. I think it looks like it's you and a bunch of players against aliens, and you're doing group missions similar to like Destiny. The design looks cool. I think
it does.
As one of the first games we saw this year, it also cemented the like thing we were going to see, which is monsters that look like zombie like, but also creepy like Last of Us monsters. So like creepy Last of Us monsters seems so many games are going with right now. The game looks cool. There's some like stealth and big shooty elements. But I don't know. I don't know when last I've really liked a Rainbow Six game. So it looks cool. Would you play something like this, Sherlyn?
So I was going to say, right? Like, is it online multiplayer or is it like local multiplayer?
It's online. I don't even know if there's a local mode in this, but this is online. Okay. You squad up with a bunch of people and you just go on missions. You go like this. You go out like clear out an alien nest or something.
Nice. That's where I get nervous because because I know I'm really bad or whatever. Just go around getting killed.
The best part, like, yeah, is playing with you, Sherlyn. Like that would be the thing. But yeah, lots of different monsters. I think it looks cool. It is really good use of the Rainbow Six like technology. They have a lot of good stealth tech and a lot of gadgets. So I'd be interested in seeing how this works out. I'm just not super excited for this. Similarly, I'm not that excited for Far Cry 6, just because it is taking that game and that universe, the Far Cry universe, to a Latin American island, which is literally just Cuba, and the villain is Giancarlo Esposito, because of course he is. He's the villain. I feel like 4 different TV series right now / movies. So he is everywhere. He's kind of doing his thing. I was really into what Ubisoft was trying to do with Far Cry 5, where it was an exploration of cults and white supremacy, even in America. Like it was an exploration of like nationalistic cults. I sat down and I talked with like a cult expert that Ubisoft was working with on the game. The actual game didn't actually reflect any of that really interesting stuff, and it felt really waffly and like it didn't actually say anything about the fact that, hey, America, we have a serious problem with like these weird nationalist cults that are building up guns and attacking people, and like it's a thing we're not really talking about. But Far Cry 5 did nothing to really explore it. Far Cry 6, meanwhile, looks like it is pitting you among a group of revolutionaries trying to topple over this island dictator. But Ubisoft is saying the game isn't political because there's nothing political about a band of rebels trying to trying to fight an oppressive government. It's all very dumb. I don't think Ubisoft has much to say at this point, but it looks cool as a drama thing. I like Giancarlo Esposito,
I was going to say, I think I saw he was on the stream, right?
Yeah. He was like, video chatting with the Ubisoft people. So that's a thing that's happening. Something I think you would be interested in, Sherlyn, is Rocksmith Plus. And Rocksmith Plus is it's basically straight up, it's a game that lets you use an actual guitar and it will teach you how to play guitar. So think of like, it is the ultimate evolution of what we were seeing from like the Guitar Hero days. Rocksmith is a thing Ubisoft has had for a while. Yeah. But this Rocksmith Plus, it is a subscription service you pay for. It will help teach you how to play guitar in a realistic way with real instruments. Like you can use an existing guitar if you have it. I think your phone can be used as like a microphone to kind of follow along. And then you could play gamey stuff, and it teaches you real chords. It teaches you actually, how to deal with the strings properly. I'm really interested by this.
I'm looking at the interface of the trailer right now. It does seem a little like not DDR, but almost Beat Saber-y in that like you're hitting the chords in accordance to what's flying at you on the screen.
And that's Guitar Hero. Like that goes all the way back to Guitar Hero.
Exactly. I completely forgot that's the exact same interface on Guitar Hero too. Yeah, plus Rock Band. I gave up learning actual guitar a long time ago because my fingers just can't do those chords. I'm a piano player, but here we go. That's a fun one, I think, for anyone that wants to learn guitar. No?
That's a fun one. I feel like that's the most surprising thing to come out of Ubisoft. I think it was rumored, but it does make me want to be like, I should just get like a cheap guitar. I want to learn how to do this, but also I want to learn how to play piano. So I would probably do this more for a piano thing. Yeah.
I like piano. For me, piano is easier to play just because I've already learned it. But could you play Rocksmith with any other stringed instrument, like a banjo, or like because
like a banjo? I don't. Ukulele. I don't. Based on what we know so far, there is no uke mode. Okay.
Yeah. It's like a different, maybe a bass guitar. I don't know.
We got a lot of games to run through here. So I'll briefly say, hey, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That is a new version of that weird ass thing that Nintendo and Ubisoft are doing, where they basically let Ubisoft build a Mario game with their weird, freaky rabbit screechers, rabbids. So look, it is another tactical RPG. It's a follow-up to Mario plus Rabbids. I like the first game. I think you have a Switch, Sherlyn, so you can actually play the first game. It is really weird, but also stays true to being Mario. So that's cool.
Right.
I'm down with that. And also, like, their big reveal. Their big reveal was an Avatar game. Avatar.
Oh boy.
Remember Avatar?
Yes. Yeah, that
the
blue
James
the
Cameron
blue people.
movie, The Blue People. It was funny. I was watching this trailer with Jess, and it took her until the end of the trailer when they put the name Avatar up there to be like, huh, an Avatar game. Nobody remembers this movie. Nobody remembers these creatures.
I do.
These people.
They're making a sequel.
They're making many sequels, but they've been making many sequels for over 5 years now. So
this is true.
yeah. So we'll see. I feel like this is a game that is coming out because the sequel Avatar 2 is supposedly going to come out next year. I have a feeling this game will arrive even before the movie arrives. It looks cool, but it also looks exactly like if I imagined a Horizon Zero Dawn or something with the Avatar universe. Like, I don't see anything new here. So it's fine. I don't know. Let's move on to Microsoft, because they talked about some really interesting things, especially around xCloud, which I think would excite you, Sherlyn. The news that they're going to be building xCloud streaming sticks and officially launching xCloud Game Pass streaming from PCs and mobile devices. So you could do it, Sherlyn. You can subscribe to Xbox All Access and just get a controller and play some games over the internet.
I'm very excited.
Are you going to do it? Are there any games that you think you'd be hopping to play at this point?
Any horror game ever, I will play.
And they've got a lot of good horror
too. Yeah. So I don't know. Not Resident Evil. Forget. I've been waiting to play that Alien Resurrection game for so long now.
I think that's on there. I think that is actually on there because of all these licensing deals. So yeah, Alien Resurrection is very good. Microsoft last week, even before their Xbox and Bethesda game showcase, basically announced a lot of hardware news. So it seems like xCloud is getting a big push. But the actual showcase started with a demo of Starfield, the next game from Bethesda. What was funny is that, I don't know if you noticed this, Sherlyn, but I think a couple hours before even the Xbox event started, the Washington Post leaked the video because they had it. They had like an exclusive piece on it. They leaked the video on their platform and kind of spoiled all of it. We still don't know what Starfield is, but they're describing it as sort of like a Han Solo simulator, a game where you could be a space rebel or bounty hunter and travel all over the place and have the freedom to move around. It looks cool. And looks very I like space games. NASA meets like futuristic fantasy stuff. Like, who knows how it's gonna go, but it's been a while.
Game.
It's been a while since Elder Scrolls Skyrim. We know they're working on like a sixth for another Elder Scrolls. This is going to be Bethesda's next big game, and I am hyped for it. Even though I feel like every major space game we've gotten over the last few years, like what was the other one? No Man's Sky, launched like terribly, and it took a while for it to like get up to speed. I hope this one launches with everything being good. And yeah, it's coming out 11/11/22. So
a while to go.
A year and a half away, but I do feel like this could be the next Cyberpunk if they don't. Everyone is hyped for this. So if they don't get the launch right, it could feel like another Cyberpunk. Yeah. But anyway, so many games. I'm just going to quickly shout out a couple other things. Halo Infinite, they showed us a bit more of single player, a bit of the multiplayer. Have you ever played a Halo game, Sherlyn?
When I was super young and my cousins didn't let me play because I was so bad, but I did play a little bit here and there. I jumped around a little bit.
You jumped around. I have not liked what 343 has been doing with the Halo franchise. So they've had over a year extra with this game. Like, it's been delayed for a year. This was supposed to be pretty much a launch season title. It's not coming till the end of this year. I think the multiplayer stuff they're showing off looks cool, just like graphically. I do miss Halo multiplayer. I just hope their campaign is good. Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator is a game that I think a lot of people were digging. That's going to be on Game Pass too, I believe. It's going to be on Game Pass. I'm not sure if it's on xCloud streaming. But I feel like this is a good game that a lot of people are going to enjoy.
It looks so pretty.
Yeah, it looks pretty. And it's coming out in July too, so not very long. I think the thing I was super excited about, though, out of all the games, is Forza Horizon 5, which you've probably heard of the Forza series. It's their like simulation racing game. Forza Horizon is an open world game where you could just like drive anywhere, go to a lot of different environments.
Ooh.
Forza Horizon 5 is going to be set in like a Mexican town or locale. You could drive through a village, which I'm sure the villagers don't appreciate. You could drive through like desert areas, and you can even like drive around an active volcano. The trailer for this thing, I noticed this game won the most anticipated award at E3 the other day. The trailer for this showed off like the sheer level of detail involved with these environments. So you could see like every single blade of grass in the ground, or like the individual petals on a flower. There's so much detail in this world, even though you'll be driving by it really quickly. I'm shocked. I love this series. It's a good combination of like open world fun and music, and just like it's very chill. They're gonna have expeditions for you to like do missions in this open world environment. So I'm digging it. I'm very happy about it.
Definitely looks very good. Like a flight simulator too, but I'm not a big driving games girl. But the expeditions might be fun.
Yeah, it looks just graphically like the things, all this stuff we're seeing in the trailers. Go look up the trailer, folk. It is in engine. It is the game running at its full power. And car games are always kind of the best ways to show off hardware. So this one is just like, it just feels like a huge flex from Microsoft. So I'm digging that. Quickly, Nintendo also happened earlier this week, and Matt Smith and I covered that. That was just a really baffling thing. Just super, super baffling, because we got a lot of small games. It started with Kazuya from Tekken coming to Super Smash Brothers. And it I think the ending for Kazuya is that his story is that he gets thrown into volcanoes or something, right? Volcanoes play a key role in Kazuya Mashima's life. And it opened with him throwing Ganon into the volcano, and there were some great Smash cuts later on of like every single Mario character getting thrown into the volcanoes. Kazuya in Smash. Smash is basically turning to a straight up fighting game right now, so that's cool.
I suck at Smash, just so you know.
Oh, great! So we should play. We should live stream Smash, because I do feel like it would be great to shit talk you. Yeah.
No, I
would just play Jigglypuff and Shayna.
No, I hate. She's so bad, so annoying. Such an annoying enemy.
Most annoying characters.
Game. Oh boy. Anyway.
Everyone's friends. Yeah, sure. People want their characters in Smash because Smash is so big. Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember like leading up to E3 that there were people saying like, "Oh, is Master Chief going to be in Super Smash Brothers?" Like, and honestly, it was not that it was not that ridiculous a prospect.
Anyway, we did see, I'll talk about like Breath of the Wild 2, I think, at the end here, but Nintendo also resurrected Metroid Dread, a game that was originally announced around like for the Nintendo DS in 2005. So that game has had like a story development. I believe this is just a complete new build. It is a 2D side scroller with a 3D engine. Looks cool. Looks fine. It looks like a classic Metroid game. And I believe like it has like an enemy that's going to chase you throughout the environments too. So gets a bit of like the Resident Evil action in there. WarioWare looks wild as hell, and I am really down to play that. But yeah, like we should play WarioWare. We should just play WarioWare on a stream, because this game is just pure chaos. Like it's just like random mini games.
That's sort of games I always play.
Yeah, you could squeeze a toothpaste. You could peel a face mask off. You could try to dodge pigeon poop. Like they're all like random little mini games.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
this is like for you. This is like the arcade games I used to play called Dash Dash.
Yes. Anyway, awesome. Basically, all those old crappy arcade games or flash games that you probably used to play. That's all WarioWare is.
That's awesome.
It's complete
bonkersness.
Yes. And I believe there is local co-op now, or local play. Yes. There is local co-op, and you can still also fight against people locally, but there will be online play too. So we should just wish we could just stream this at some point. That would be super down. WarioWare looks cool. And then we got a little bit of Breath of the Wild too. Just a little bit. And Microsoft showed, or Nintendo showed us that the world will basically, you'll be exploring the world above the Hyrule map from Breath of the Wild. So it opened with Link falling out of the sky, going to these like island environments of floating in the sky, or really reminds me of Laputa Castle in the Sky. So it's really going for that vibe. Sherlyn, you have a Nintendo Switch. Have you played Breath of the Wild yet?
Never play Breath of the Wild.
What are you doing?
I'm busy playing other lame games like
other lame games,
Smash games. Yes.
You should play Breath of the Wild, because I do think like this is the original game is one of the best video games ever made.
Looks good.
It is incredible, and it gives you a huge open world to explore. Even if you're not a Zelda fan, like I think you can get it. It is a game that can be hard at times, but in terms of like sheer adventure and sheer like imagination, I cannot think of anything more than Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild, I was basically calling an infinite game for a long time because it felt like you could never finish it. Sure, you could find everything, but you know, it felt like there was always something else to do. And we don't know much about the sequel. I think they're aiming for next year. But it seems cool. Yeah.
Called Breath of the Wild 2. Usually
that's the title we're running with right now. So
usually Nintendo is a bit more creative, but they didn't call Majora's Mask Ocarina of Time 2. Think about that.
They didn't, but that game was not Ocarina of Time 2. That game was a weird side story that I can't believe they released. That game was great. Yeah.
Anyway, so when it was first announced, weren't a lot of people under the impression that it was going to actually be mostly underground rather than like floating islands or something? That's something that I remember from when that was announced in the very beginning, which might have been a couple of years ago by now.
Might have been like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, might have been like 3 years ago. But like floating islands and the skydiving just reminded me a lot of Skyward Sword.
Sure, but we will never talk about that game again. The Skyward Sword HD remake is coming. I never liked that game, but
I played through like 70% of Skyward Sword, but I didn't really feel the push to finish it.
Yeah, you're a tougher gamer than me. I just like they should bring that Wind Waker HD version, that remaster, over to Switch already. It's still not here. That game is perfect. So there's that. Maybe with all the floating islands, like I want to get some like verticality, like actual like not just the leaf that throws you up in the sky, but like something that really launches Link so that you can fly more easily. So I'm looking forward to those dynamics, and the game looks good. What do you want to see from Nintendo, Sherlyn? Because this is when you can actually, you have some stakes in, you have a Switch. You know, what else do you want to see?
I know there's probably some good horror games on there. I've played some shitty Resident Evil games on my Switch, and not great. I want a good ass soul sucking horror game that scares the living daylights out of me.
I think, did they announce Fatal Frame? I think they announced Fatal Frame, the next Fatal Frame.
They haven't made a new Eternal Darkness game in a while, have they?
I mean, that's you're really going back. You're really going back now. But yeah, Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water. That is a new game coming. Fatal Frame is a game series where it's basically like Japanese ghosts, and your only weapon is a camera, so you have to take photos of them. I believe some earlier versions of that game are up already on Switch, but the next one, it's coming later this year to Switch and all existing consoles. So you'd probably like that, Sherlyn.
I will look forward to it.
Yeah. Lots of horror, lots of good stuff. That is E3 this year. I really miss not being able to go and play games. That's all I miss. But yeah, happy Video Games Week, people, and I'm looking forward to playing some things later this year. Most games that were announced are coming in 2022 for obvious reasons. But I do think between this, I didn't talk much about Ratchet, but Ratchet and Clank, so good. That justifies the PS5. I think by the end of this year, if you have a next generation console, you'll have actual things to play. So I'm looking forward to that.
You might actually be able to get a next generation console.
Who knows? I cannot guarantee that. But, you know, I think as the gamers who really want it start to peel off, maybe you will find it somewhere. So good luck, everybody. Happy E3.
Okay, so now
All right, I
we
think
are
we're good and we're at
getting
time.
toward done with
Wrap.
we're getting toward
Time.
done with the
Okay.
stream, and yes, I do think that we need to end because we have another stream, or our video team needs to move on to other things. So thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you so much, everybody.
This stream comes to you via our video team, which is led by Kyle Mock with Owen. Actually, not Owen right now, but like with Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. But it's powered by everyone in the chat. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for shouting all of the things that you wanted to see about Windows 11 at us. That was fun to do. Really want to do more stuff like that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
If you stuck around this long, rate the show on iTunes. We all live in a world of algorithms. You guys know that rating things 5 stars means a lot. Rating your Uber driver 5 stars
Feed the
that they don't
algorithm,
get
please.
fired.
Yeah.
So yes, feed the algorithm for us, please. And we'll see you next week.
Later.